France here at Ballymore. We've had some afternoon showers, so it will be just a little damp underfoot. But the stage is set for a fantastic spectacle here tonight. This is the grand finale for the French team. They want to go out in style, and also they want to prove that they can really perform as a truly great rugby nation. There's been a lot flying around in the press during the week, and we're expecting them to really explode tonight, and that's certainly what the Australians are expecting. With me is Simon Poitevin. What's your feeling about the French mental approach going into this game?
Well, judging by the body language of coach Jean-Claude Squilla last week, the Australians have a hard time tonight. This side will play with passion, they'll dig deep, and above all, they'll find discipline. They found discipline against England during the Five Nations and did incredibly well.
Well, the Wallabies looked pretty relaxed when they arrived here tonight. James Holbeck, a new man coming into the side there from the ACT Brumbies. So we have 9 players in the starting lineup from the ACT Brumbies tonight. There's man of the match, Ben Tune. So let's go down to Chris Handy with the Aussie skipper.
John Eales, how important is it for Australia to do everything 100% right tonight?
Oh, it's very important, Chris. Like, after we had a pretty slow start last week, it'd be great if we can start very well this week, particularly in the set pieces, and carry it on.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Yes, John Eales, Australia's most capped test lock tonight. His 41st cap in that position. The French, well, they really look as though they mean business here tonight. Simon Poitevin, Acosta-Berry, also Dort on the reserve bench here tonight. There are the odds from Centrebet. Australia odds-on favourite. The French are the outsiders in this game with 7.5-point start. And we're back here at beautiful Ballymore as we build up to the second international of the Ford Australia Test Series between Australia and France. The Wallabies winning the first test by 29-15. The bicentennial trophy is up for grabs. There's been a lot flying around in the press particularly. Australian coach Greg Smith opened up on all barrels regarding the negative tactics of the French in the test last week and also the Barbarians match. And Chris Handy down on the touchline. It really is a pretty volatile cocktail tonight, Chris. What are you expecting from the French? Is it a smouldering volcano?
Well, good. What I'm expecting, they've been subjected all week to threats as if they've been responsible for the Rainbow Warrior atrocities. There's been some veil sledging. There's been some attempts to psychologically affect the referee. The Australian camp's been very active, and I think it's because they respect this French combination so well, and because if the French can get their discipline right and commit a few less penalties, then they're really a big chance. They've made a couple of changes to their side, and this really means that head-to-head, the French and the Wallabies aim up just quite sensationally. Have a look at it.
The Wallabies have made 1 change while the French have rung in 3. Opposing fullbacks are rookie Stephen Larkham and the classy Jean-Luc Sardini. On the right wing, man of the match in Sydney, Ben Tune, faces Sebastian Diaz. At outside centre, Jason Little lines up against skillful Christophe Lamaison. The 2 inside centres are playmakers Pat Howard and Thomas Castaignède, while in-form Joe Roth takes on the speedy right wing Philippe Bernard-Salle. Vice-captain Tim Horan is at fly half against the experienced Alain Penaud. 2 grand competitors at scrum half, George Gregan and Philippe Carbonneau. In the pack, the opposing number 8s are Troy Coker and Fabien Pelouse. David Wilson wears the number 7 jumper. He's opposite Olivier Magne. On the other flank, Brett Robinson and the French skipper, Abdelatif Benazi. Locking the scrum, Wallaby captain John Eales and Olivier Brouzet, as well as David Giffen and Man Mountain, Olivier Mel. At tight head, Ewan McKenzie anchors the scrum against Christian Califano. Opposing hookers are Marco Caputo and Marc Dalmazeau, while Richard Harry is at loose head against Frank Tournaire. Well, the French are back at Ballymore for a test match for the first time since 1990. That's Magna and Jean-Claude Squilla, the coach of the French team up ahead. But cameras are banned from the dressing room, Bernard-Salle. And this guy, the Massif Central, Olivier Mel, the former lumberjack, you don't argue with him. Fermez la porte. The Aussie dressing room, John Eales having some treatment to that shoulder, some strapping, Simon, but a big test for the scrum tonight.
It certainly is. The Australian scrum under pressure last week. They'll have to absorb a lot in the first half this week. And Richard Harry in particular has got a big task tonight. Jason Little wanted a bit more ball last weekend. I'm sure he'll get it tonight. And Mitch Hardy, the 2-try hero last week. George Gregan will need a hell of a lot more protection this week than last week. Copped a lot of very bad ball in Sydney.
There's Ewan McKenzie, and it looks like Marco Caputo on the ground. So the two front rowers having a good talk, and Pat Howard. Timmy Horan will want to get the Australians on the front foot tonight. So we're now going to hear from the two coaches. Certainly, as far as Greg Smith is concerned, he's had a lot to say. It'll either distract the concentration of the French team or it will bring them together. We'll soon know as we build up to this test match here at Ballymore. The two coaches.
I think that this game is very important for the French team because it will be much better to come back to France with a win, but we do not want to win only for winning, you know. We want to win also with the manner, with our style, and evidently we are here for that.
I mean, we all realise that it's going to be a game played with a lot of passion by the French. They have to win this game to get any credibility out of the tour. They're a great team, so they're going to be very difficult opponents. I mean, we know that, and we believe that we'll be difficult opponents too.
And just over 10 minutes away from kick-off in this Ford Australia second international from Ballymore, and spectacular views from the Whitman lightship. We'll be bringing you these great pictures for the duration of this second test match here at Ballymore. Well, the French have certainly had an eventful time since their loss at the Sydney Football Stadium last Saturday night. Let's catch up with their movements since last weekend. The Five Nations champions sampled the splendour of Sydney Harbour the morning after the first test defeat. No doubt the name Hardy was still ringing in their ears. The specialist try-sneak had snatched away a possible victory. His flashing test debut appropriately labelled as 13 minutes from heaven. From Sydney, a short hop north to the former Steel City. Newcastle has produced some legendary wallabies, and a host of future stars were on show in the green jersey of the AIS Barbarians. Sadly, the match became a farce as the French almost willfully conceded 25 penalties. More's the pity, because when they had the ball, they made try-scoring look easy. Chance now for first try to the French. Frustration bubbled over before half-time, but after claiming a one-point victory, the Barbarians weren't prepared to comment publicly on their claims of eye-gouging, kicking and even stomping.
Yeah, there was a little physical stuff going on out there, which is supposed to be in rugby, and the less said about some of those things, the better, I think.
The return of star backs Christophe Lamaison and fly half Alain Penaud for the Brisbane finale is a huge boost for the French cause. Their massive forwards are mean and abrasive, and they take no prisoners. With Bastille Day looming, the Wallabies are ready for a torrid climax. Yes, the French will be taking no prisoners here tonight, Simon Poitevin. There's Abdelatif Benazi, their great skipper. It's also their chance to really make this tour a success.
Yeah, they're a very proud side, Five Nations champions, and not going to go away with Brisbane without giving it a big shot here tonight.
And this guy, Fabien Pelouse, the number 8, a giant of a man, 197 kilometres. They've got a very rugged, physical forward pack. And here's the Australian dressing room. This is the scene as they build up towards kick-off here. Totai Kefu coming into the squad, but he's not in the 21.
Yeah, Kefu's had an excellent season for Queensland, deservedly there.
So Dirk Williams just putting the Australians through their paces. And let's now hear from a young man who's really captured everyone's imagination with his storming performance last weekend at the Sydney Football Stadium. Young Ben Tune was the man of the match.
Had a few test matches where basically I was sort of probably a little bit out of my depth, I suppose. A little bit overawed by the whole situation, and really just didn't have any confidence, couldn't get involved in games.
Tune lost his test spot and his confidence on the Wallaby Tour of Britain. things could only get better in 97.
I worked out the fact that, how it feels to lose your wallaby jumper and what it means to have, the wallaby spot. And, I had a really good off-season this year, worked very hard on the weights and did a lot of speed work, and basically came out this year, confident, basically ready to win back that position.
The talented youngster certainly rose to the challenge this year and was one of Queensland's best in Super 12. He also did a nice job on the Waratahs. A lucrative 3-year contract with the ARU and a man-of-the-match performance against France has made Ben Tune a happy young man. The demands and expectations of David Campese's old test spot are certainly in good hands.
And Campo perfected it. Was a fact of, no one in a back line has a certain position. You just slot in wherever you can, and wherever, will benefit the team as a whole.
Yes, Ben Tune's defence last night was also a feature, but the last time these two sides met in a test here at Ballymore, it was a showpiece, and tonight should be no different. The two sides to take the field on the other side of this. And there the revealing sight from the Whitman's lightship as we look down on a slightly damp Ballymore for this second international in the Ford Australia Test Series. A very good crowd in here tonight, very close to the capacity of around 27,000 as we're waiting for the two sides to take the field. The record here at Ballymore is at 28.7. That was for the South African series, but it since has been reduced because we had grandstands, temporary ones at either end back in 1993. So we're waiting now for the French team to be led out by their grand skipper, Abdelatif Benazi. Really is a spectacular scene here at Ballymore, and with me in commentary, former Wallaby great Simon Poitevin, 59 test caps, and on the touchline, Chris Handy. A lot of expectation here. We really are expecting a very volatile encounter. The French have been stung by criticism of their tactics, but Benazi, who was sent off in that 1990 series, the only survivor in the French team from those test matches against the Wallabies. There's Palouse and little Cabonneau. But the French know they have a big, powerful forward pack. They're going to take it to the Australians tonight, but the Wallabies won't be intimidated. They're going to stand their ground. And Benazi out onto Ballymore in a test for the first time since 1990. What a showpiece that game was, 48-31. Australia emerging victorious, but it really is a splendid scene here. Simon Poitevin, there's Franck Tournaire, the very good tight head prop. Just two changes from the Sydney Football Stadium last weekend, both in the backs. The brilliant playmakers Lamaison and Penaud returned from injury. The forward pack, the same one that took the sword to England at Twickenham on March 1st, save for the giant lock Olivier Brouzet. Skipper Benazi, his 56th cap, and Jean-Luc Sardoni, the quiet achiever, a very modest man, a champion player, his 55th international. And Marc Dalmazeau. Well, Chris Handy, he's been one of the stars of the French tour.
He's redefined, Gordon, the number 2 position on the field, that of hooker. So skillful is he around the field.
John Eales, tonight becoming Australia's most capped test lock, surpassing Rod McCall and also Steve Cutler. There's Troy Coker back into the test team in a run-on test for the first time since 1995 against Argentina. And the crowd responding very generously to the Wallabies in their new strip. It really is a carnival atmosphere here at Ballymore. Just the one change to the Aussie side that downed France 29-15 in the first test. Troy Coker replaces Daniel Manu at number 8. Larkham again starts at fullback for injured Matt Burke. Average age of the Aussie backline is 23. Vice-Captain Horan, the senior statesman. The forward pack much more seasoned, though, averaging 28.5 years. Ewan McKenzie and also Tim Horan, their 49th caps here tonight. But Jason Little, a quiet first test. He played very well when he came back on after an injury late in the game. He'll be looking to get very involved tonight. And what about Troy Coker, Simon Poitevin?
Well, Troy Coker first played for Australia in 1987. He's had a huge season with the ACT Brumbies and made a huge impact last week when he came on this side of the Australians. Tim Horan's been troubled all week with that back. But he's happy to be out here at Ballymore, and Pat Howard.
Yes, Pat Howard and Joe Rock, who even played at fullback last week when Stephen Larkham went off to the blood bin. But gee, there are some exciting young backline players in this Australian team, and they'll be matched by the flair, pace and skill of their French counterparts tonight. Two grand sides who are vying for the second spot in world rankings behind the All Blacks. Australia play New Zealand at Lancaster Park in Christchurch next Saturday. The national anthems. So the Australians now to perform their national anthem for the first time in their new strip here at Ballymore.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, join with us as we sing the Australian national anthem.
James Holbeck closest. Brumbies on the reserve bench, and incredibly only one New South Wales Waratah on the Wallaby starting lineup, the lowest in history. There's the reserve bench. Hardy, the two-try hero from the Sydney Football Stadium, and Duart on the reserve bench for the French here tonight. So Clayton Thomas, his 8th international, physical education schoolmaster from Neath, a man who's travelled all over the world in his capacity as a referee for such far-flung places as Dubai and Argentina. And there Castaignède, the brilliant little playmaker who scored a scintillating try at the stadium just 7 days ago. So the Wallabies are expecting a full-on effort from the French as we're underway. Joe Rock goes deep. Pelouse clears the ball to Benazi. They're really going to throw it around tonight, I feel, the French. They don't want it to get tied up in these rucks and mauls. They want to show their skills. Here they go immediately, putting it into space. Great play from Saroni. And a wild pass, but the French have signalled their intentions.
The Australians beware. Forget about the violence out there. They've got to have the endurance. This French side will run the ball for the full 80 minutes.
But Chris Handy, the Australians also know that they have superior fitness levels, what we've seen so far.
That's right, Gordon, but it's these set pieces that are going to be the key. Right down the middle, they need the big gap and the clean jump.
Open the gap, open the gap.
Clean jump there by John Eales. Throw was spot on. The Welsh Maul standing their ground. We're about 35 metres out. Australians controlling it here at the back. Troy Coker. The referee wants it out. Gregan goes in. Horan standing a lot closer tonight. Rock, straight through. Little's winning. 15 metres out. That's a Brumbies move, that one. Gregan up the centre. France hold on. Great start here by the Wallabies.
Oh, fabulous stuff there from the Australians. It was a Brumbies move, and Joe Rock cut him up the middle. Found Jason Little. Let's watch it. Horan back inside to Howard, then to Rock. Rock, a strong winger, makes the break, finds Little. Great defence, brings in the ground, and George Gregan takes it on.
Chris Handy, take us through this early scrum.
And now the cutting edge. This is the phase of play that Australia will have worked on during the week because they needed to. The French were able to angle across their front row. They must meet them early and take them square on.
Explosive start here, Gregan. There's an overlap. He got it. Larkham couldn't hold on. Well, the try was there. The footing gave way and the try went begging.
Again, a great scrum from the French that gave ball just a little bit solely. The timing was fractionally out and that caused the problem. That's where it broke down.
Well, a let off there for France.
You can hear the referee saying he wants both scrums square.
That's a good French scrum. Sebastian Vias, who has played a lot at fullback, getting a nice clearing kick in, and we're still inside the quarter.
Well, a positive start all round from the referee, from the Australians, from the French. Quite a contrast to last week.
France playing on quickly. That's Carbonneau. Manya, taken by Horan. Harry's there, just outside the quarter. Pinot cleared it beautifully. The French with an overlap again. Bernard Sal has ruled a forward pass. No luck there for the French. And the crowd venting their feelings towards the referee.
Watch this one closely. The French take it up the middle, then throw it wide. Get past the Australian defence wide.
Ball away, keep it up, keep it up.
And that was the forward pass.
Well, that pass there called by the touch judge, the referee obliged to bring it back.
Well, you'd argue with that one. It's all in the hands. Australia work it left. The hands seem to pass the ball backwards. A punishing tackle there by Benazzi on Rock. Here's Horan now. Attacking the defence on the quarter. Joe Rock getting up a little gingerly. French have managed to hold this one in.
Yellow ball.
Australia still maintaining possession and putting all the early pressure on.
It's good work by the Australian forward pack. They've got to get to Tim Horan. If he takes this forward, they've got to pick up and drive on. Marco Caputo nearly got rolled over, but they were able to keep possession.
Horan looking very slick at fly half here tonight. Here's Gregan. Howard. Back to Rock again. French red at that time. Centre field on the quarter. Gregan. Horan. Jason Little chases. Saroni there first. And clever work there by Little. Bernard Sal delivering the pass to his fullback.
It's a well-organised French defence. The Australians mixing it up. Jason Little, a ton of pace.
It's this good variety early that's the key to Australia. They're continuing to go forward, just testing the French in every aspect. And that was a great kick. The pressure of both the touchline and also the goal line on the French fullback.
What a magnificent start to this test match. Neither side has made a mistake so far. They've moved the ball brilliantly. John Eales gets his second line-out win. And the backs join here. The referee's bowled over. France in trouble. They're over. The try is awarded. There was no stopping that, and Richard Harry gets his first test try.
Well, this try is all about innovation. Bringing the backs in, at the weight. Fantastic line-out jump by Eales. Harry in for the ball. And watch him come in, the backs driving in. The referee taking it with the tidal wave. Gets up, Positioned to see the try by Harry. Fantastic stuff.
This Wallaby juggernaut driving towards the line. An innovation that's been rarely used except for a couple of seasons ago. Queensland started it, the Brumbies perfected it, the Wallabies make the French pay.
So Richard Harry, in his 9th Test match, getting his first Test try. The only member of the New South Wales Waratahs in this Test team. 118 kilograms. He used it to good effect that time. Well, what a dynamic start, Chris. The French have moved the ball beautifully out wide with their 2 opportunities. Forward pass pulled back, but the Wallabies have really cranked it up as well.
Very good concentration from the Wallabies. That's the key to it. They've got there in numbers and they're winning ball and keeping it going forward.
John Eales. So just 5 points the difference. But this looks as though it could be anything, this match tonight, if the first 7 or so minutes is any indication. Greg Smith and John Mackay, the Australian management, must be delighted with that start.
We saw a super game here in 1990, the Test match. Numerous tries scored, the play going from end to end. As Lamaison lines the ball up.
Well, the Australians' ball retention has been outstanding. Lamaison, he hasn't quite gone the 10. So a fundamental error there. Again, puts his side under heavy pressure.
In 8 minutes, the French have been rarely in Australia's half. They've tried to work the ball wide. That's one way of putting on pressure. But they've got to get territory. They've got to vary this game, get deep into Australia's territory before they can work some magic.
The Australians are stacked their back line to the left. There's a bit of debris in the field. Heads to the sideline.
Well, it's been a real Brumbies flavour, not only in the personnel and the starting lineup, but a lot of the moves so far. We're on halfway. Coker at the back. And Coker already has taken a lot of pressure off George Gregan from the first Test. Howard going through beautifully. Picked up by Giffen. But he ran into his own man there. Into David Wilson, who was sort of a shield that time. 5 from halfway, French scrum.
Well, that eagle-eyed referee spotted some extruded plastic that would have been right in the way of Pat Howard as he drove forward. And he's given that to the other touch judge.
Here goes Pinot. Lamaison, wrapped up by Gregan, ball and all. Cabano, they're getting quick ball tonight. Benatsal, lovely hands. Cesaroni. He stands in the tackle. They're into Australian territory now. Temper's flaring a little. They're keeping it alive, France. This is good play. And she's on for young and old as the 2 rucks go to ground.
Wait!
Nothing holding back here.
The referee was right there for it, and David Giffen, the player, penalised for wrapping the ball up. Watch the ball roll forward here. Dalmasso gets the ball back, and Giffen over the top. Cabano not happy.
Here's the boot.
Well, the touch judge
Here's the
reporting.
boot. Illegal. Penalty kick yellows. Have a word
So
about
there you go. The penalty has been reversed. The touch judges having plenty to do in the early stages, and it's not going France's way.
They're a bit hard on Cabano there. Giffen wrapped the ball up. Most rugby players in the world would feel offended by that action by Giffen.
So the touch, 45 metres out. Stephen Larkham still sporting stitches from the wound in the first Test at the stadium.
Difficult to see Australia going to the back of the line out here. They struggled a little bit when it went further to the back with the movement. Giffen at the front's the option.
Well, a lot of barging in that line out. France come away. Castaignède to Pelouse. Wrapped up by Robinson. Big tackle that time. Now Tourneur goes into scrum half.
Forward pass through. Scrum down, yellow ball.
And the referee spots a little forward pass this time. So just the ball bouncing Australia's way, and they're ready to punish again here.
The contact in the scrum, the key to a good Wallaby one.
Horan goes right. Good work by Carbonneau. Horan lost it between his legs. Larkham's wrapped up and driven back in the tackle. Wallabies clean out. Gregan goes down to Sadoni. He gets the mark. He has men outside, and here they go. 3-on-2, overlap. Castaignède knocks on. Knocked back, says the referee. They recover. Here's Larkham, his own side of halfway. Horan, Roth is looping. Roth was on the outside that time. Sadoni counters. Couldn't get away from Gregan. Mel, Horan's there. Mel, a huge man. That was Bruzet, supported by Benazi. France have it near halfway, but they didn't control it. Carbonneau away again. Just a little bit of ball control, letting the French down.
You just get the feeling the French big men are ready to break out. Bruzet, Merle, Benazi working very well together. You need a little bit more ball, a couple more opportunities. Right on the money.
Well, this has been exhilarating rugby from both sides so far. Both sides really prepared to have a go at the opposition. Gregan! Fullback in front! 2 men inside! Tune! Brilliant work by Gregan! And man of the match, Tune, gets Australia's second try.
Well, Ben Tune, what a great night for him to score a test try here at Ballymore. He just is so proud to be a Queenslander in front of his home crowd here. Gregan just bamboozles them. The winger dummy throws inside, and Tune's got a clear run to the line.
Blistering pace from Ben Tune there, Chris, but Gregan did it all from the scrum base.
The great scrum platform was the benefit, and this man the user of it. He did all the work, George. He kept going wide and stretched the defence. Ben Tune just had to stroll over as any good winger should.
And the strength and speed of Gregan there. Just magic. So John Eales now. The crowd just jumping out of their skins here. What a test match it's been so far. Eales about 12 metres in from the far touch. He made his test debut here against Wales when he was man of the match in 1991. This to put Australia ahead 12-0. Well, he's off target tonight on home territory. Australia 10, France 0. Live and exclusively across Australia on the 7 network and live internationally. And One World of Sports, Sky New Zealand, B-Sky B, France 2 in Europe, and Mnet in South Africa. Here's Horan. He's cut straight through. Toulouse in front. Brilliant bust by Horan. Roth. Merle got him. Australia knock on. Well, the Aussies are on fire here at Ballymore.
Well, that'd be the reason that Paul McLean says Tim Horan should be in the team. The strength of that bust that needed it. And from on high, what great pictures you can see, that yawning gap. Horan just takes it with ease, and it's just some confusion in the support play that doesn't advance the ball.
Suddenly runs into a bit of trouble here in the shape of Robinson. And the French have turned it over. So a scrum here for France. Just a few turnovers in the early stages, upsetting their fluency and momentum.
Tim Horan really used the referee well in that move. Ran straight at him, confused the French defence. Reckon more count, not many.
Chris, Jake Howard, in the absence of John Griffiths this week, has been working with the Australian scrum, and you can see the Howard influence.
It's all about concentration, Gordon, and making that hit. Got to get on early and keep the weight on.
Here they go. They've gone across field, Castaignède. They've got nowhere that time, the French, trying their variation. Straight across field into touch, just short of halfway.
Well, the French are finding the defences in the Southern Hemisphere a bit harder to get through than they find up north.
And also some of the cameras on the sideline. Here they come, and he's driven across field by Little. Look at this angle. Take your life in your own hands.
So Marco Caputo, Troy Coker jumping at number 2 here. Giffen at 4, Eales at the back. Toulouse jumping against him. John Eales That's Toulouse. So the French up to this part of Australia's territory for the first time. Again, they haven't controlled the ball.
John Eales appealing at the back of the line out, being held down. Just a normal jump. It's amazing how the world's best line out jumper arguably is not able to get off the ground.
Here comes Larkham. He hit it beautifully. Great pass to Roth. Coker's with him to clean out, and Robinson just short of halfway.
Get away.
Tim Horan rifling the ball towards the far corner post. Here's Sardoni. He needs a good bounce. Beautifully picked up. Oh, Bernard Saar went without it. The try's on. Little. Another one. The French are self-destructing here. Just turning the ball over to the Wallabies, who have skipped clear.
Jason Little hardly got the ball in the first half last week. He's seen plenty tonight, and a try. Tim Horan, well positioned, a big kick wide, and the French really mix it up there. Jason Little ducks inside Sardoni's defence. Scores a beautiful try in the corner.
Oftentimes the support play can get you into trouble, and a bit of poetic justice there as Sardoni had overrun the ball. It was forward. Referee played superb advantage. You can see his arm out. Jason Little needs no other reason. Over, you good thing.
So nothing has gone right for this French team. The Australians have punished every error. They haven't made a mistake themselves, and they're out to a 15-0 lead. Jean-Claude Scraler, well, they must be just bewildered at the moment. But if they can hold on to the ball, they can put themselves back in the test match. John Eales, 15 metres in. He gets this one right. So a white-hot start by the Wallabies. They've scored 3 tries in as many minutes. Richard Harry, Ben June, and now Jason Little.
Well, the house full sign is up. It's crammed. They've even had to turn a few away. This wonderful ground of Ballymore applauding their heroes, particularly out wide. Firstly Tune and then Little.
Christophe Lamaison. The French have barely been in Australia's territory. They're competing here though. That's Manya. Now they have a great chance to get on the scoreboard. That's Bruzet, caught by Gregan. Califano. Giffen the tackler. Mail is there. Inside the quarter. That's Dalmazo. This is where the ball control is so vital. Penaud has a go. Taken well by Howard. French control again. That's Toulouse. Wallabies offside. Do they want 3, which is a gift, or do they want 7? They're down 17 on the scoreboard. Benazi says, we'll take 3. 17-0 here at Ballymore.
Got that.
Should reduce it to a 14-point difference. No problems with that one. So Australia 17, scoring 3 tries to 0, but importantly for the Frenchmen, they're on the board.
Australians splitting their kick here, trying to confuse the French. Giffen to one side, Eales to the other. Eales to the left, Giffen to the right.
So it's Stephen Larkham with the restart for Australia. Matt Burke still injured with that groin problem. He'll miss the match against New Zealand. Oliver Merle lost ahead by the Australians that time on the rebound. So the French, Simon, have to claw their way back into this game now and probably try and keep it a bit more simple than they have so far.
Probably a little surprised about by the expansive game the Australians are playing, and the French are really lacking in possession as well.
Big scrum from Australia. A great scrum from Australia there. Chris Handy.
That one would give them a lot of them. There's a bit of feeling in it too. French not happy. Good concentration. pushing as 8.
And
Good sign from the Wallabies, but there's a long way to go. They'll have to keep packing them like that. This is a good French pack.
And Chris, some good aggressive play there from Troy Coker, the big number 8 for Australia, who has added some experience and composure to this Wallaby pack for the second test.
Toulouse greatly agitated by Harry continuing to step through on the French players.
So the Wallaby pack looking very hungry. France hold their ground this time. Lamaison goes wide. This is Eales. Taken a bit high there by Little. The Wallabies have done some very good spoiling at the breakdown. Lamaison is there. He has it. Carbonneau. And he threw it away. Howard couldn't hold on. So they're pushing the passes. The composure's not there for France. They really have to settle it down.
Very dangerous in their forward rushes, the French. Very well organised, except just that last pass. Here, Little comes across and slides up high, but then the support arrives. And they tested the Wallabies as they pick up and go again.
George Gregan feeds just inside Australia's half. French well back in the back line. He'll set it back to Harry. Creeping up towards halfway. That's Caputo. French trying to kick it away. They were bound. And players ruled offside. They're not bound, says the referee. Interesting to see that one again, because they have to bind onto the ruck. The referee just being spoken to here. Now there's the tackle.
I think clearly Merle is offside because he came unbound. He's in front of the last feet. The referee was talking to him right through.
Yes, you're right, Chris. He was offside initially. And again, the French will have to watch their discipline. Merle is a great spoiler around the fringes.
And Greg Smith looks on. Intense as usual. Merle, I think, a little unlucky there. Made the tackle, stood his ground. Play went past him.
So Marco Caputo has several options here. Coker joining the line out now. Late. Going in behind John Eales. Giffen at the front here. He gets it. Coker drives onto him. Using his 115 kilos. The Australians only 5 out. But again, accidentally putting themselves offside. An Australian man in front of the ball carrier. And just as well.
Much improvement from the Wallabies in this phase of play. From the line-out last week, they weren't able to penetrate this French defensive wall. They're getting the man in and then going again. But as it's taken, he just accidentally bumps into his own man. Accidental offside, Richard Harry, as he picked up and drove.
Carbonneau, back to Sardoni. And that's a nice clearing kick, taking play out of the danger zone. Australia ahead 17-3.
Well, I do think referees are taking that interpretation too far. You could pull the game up every half second if they really wanted to go all the way.
John Eales. And Coker that time got a hand on it. Harry, or it was Brett Robinson under pressure, but covering up superbly. Gregan now. French backs all onside. Little knock on there by the Wallaby inside man. And there has been a problem with these night matches with the dew. We've had rain this afternoon, so there are some excuses for handling errors.
This Ballymore surface is in super condition, firm underfoot, though there is the dewiness and still the remaining moisture from this afternoon's rain. The two scrums showing that there's good foothold.
The Australians really crashing in at these engagements, Chris, really trying to put the pressure on. Palouse. Robinson stood his ground again. And the penalty goes to France. Carbonneau wants it quickly here. Off they go. Magna. Taken by Eales. Now it's Tournaire. Dalmazo is there. Carbonneau. Suddenly in the line. This is Castaignède. Howard got in. They've made about 15 metres. And offside play here against Australia. Referee played a long advantage that time. Well, the pace has been fast and furious. The Wallabies with 3 tries ahead, 17-3. 10-metre line, centre field, Christophe Lamaison, who got the full house of scoring options against England at Twickenham back on March 1. A try, 2 conversions, 2 penalties and a drop goal. 18 points his total, looking for his second penalty here. Distance not a problem. Accuracy, neither. Second penalty goal to Christophe Lamaison, this world-class goal kicker. And the French are creeping back into proceedings here at Ballymore. They trail by 11.
Wonderful side. The French can bung a few points on in very, very quick time. And this is a crucial period, nearly 12 minutes before half-time. Wallabies need to concentrate.
Back to Penaud, the fly half. Oh, he threw a shocking pass. That was a terrible pass to no one. And he's given away probably 3 points here if the Australians don't opt for a quick tap. Well, he just seemed to have a brain explosion there, Simon.
Yeah, but he's looking for a player to come close. There's no one coming close, and then the ball just sailed back, creating all sorts of problems for the French. And now John Eales has a very easy 3 points right in front.
The Schweppes Wallabies, framed as John Eales is, just performing superbly in this, the second test, showing that their preparation has been a good one. They've been in intensive camp for nearly 3 weeks.
John Eales, 160 points in Super 12 last year, 123 this year. The jack of all trades, the Wallaby skipper. Another penalty goal. So Australia advances their score now to 20 and the margin back to 14.
This will be a critical 10 minutes.
Christophe Lamaison. France really would love to score next. Closing in on half-time. That would put them right back in the game. Gilpin with his superb aerial skills. Well, the Australian mauling has improved dramatically from Sydney. And it's the leg drive that's really got going tonight. Roth, loose pass, the try's on. Lamaison, Benatsal, 7 metres out.
Excellent scrambling by the Australian defence there. Shut the French down at a critical moment.
Isn't this great rugby? Australia chancing their hand. A good pass could have seen them have the break. The French just sweating on it. He is so very, very close.
So Giffen at 2, Eales at 4. Referees really ensured the 1 metre tunnel tonight as Eales gets it comfortably. Only 7 metres out from the goal line. Stephen Larkham, who won the Brumbies Housewife Award in Japan last year. He tried to wash his soiled laundry in a drying machine.
It's amazing trivia, Gordon. Back to the rugby of the French. Critical throw-in.
Brilliantly taken by Coco. 25 metres out. Horan again has a go. Caught by Bruce. Gregan. Well, Tim Horan certainly keeping that French defence honest. Bruce doing well that time to come through and wrap him up.
Australia doing very well in 2 areas that they didn't achieved that same satisfaction in the first test. The line-outs they're keeping simple at the front and winning their ball, and their scrum shows a lot more application.
Lamaison. That's Toulouse at the back. Tournaire into Giffen. Lamaison again. Oh, he almost got through. Here they go. Pinot. Lovely work to Magna. Beautifully read by Horan. Mel. Well, there's a real battle going on halfway. It's as though Troy Coker's involved again.
A bit of horizontal folk dancing, I think. Two players grappling with each other on the ground, two big men.
The two number 8s, Fabien Toulouse and Troy Coker.
Came from a push and a shove at the back of the line-out. Each one trying to get the better. The other holding on for grim death.
I thought Mike Tyson, Holyfield tomorrow. It's happening right at Ballymore.
Well, after watching Damien Smith's effort, Chris, last weekend at Topper Stadium, there were certainly a few more landed here tonight. 20-6 Australia.
In my day, you could feed an entire...
Certainly caught plenty there. He also landed a few himself, but these two huge men, Fabien Toulouse, 112 kilos, just 23 years of age against the veteran. The Zsa Zsa Gabor of rugby, Troy Coker. No one knows his age.
I'm going to send you off. Whatever the provocation, stay with me now. Whatever the provocation, whatever's gone on before, either of you will punch him again, I'm going to send you off. Talk to him, please. We'll go back to where we stopped. Blue ball. Have a word with them. Talk to them.
So the referee laying down the law. 26 to Australia, about 7 minutes before the break.
Pretty good advice from the referee, but you're creating a rod for your own back when you're saying send off.
Well, they've certainly been cautioned, those two, Chris, so they certainly can't do it again. French scrum goes straight ahead.
We don't scrum it when we sprint. Still move on. Sure.
Alyssa time, 5 minutes. The end of the first half. French very focused, very pumped after that physical interlude.
Here goes Carbonneau. Again, he threw a 4 pass. Little. Referee plays advantage. Carbonneau's turned over a couple of crucial balls for his side. Benazir's down on the ground. This is Castaignède, he knocked it back. Joe Roth there. Lamaison, caught by Horan. Benazir still down on the ground, having attention. 10 from halfway, France have it. Now they get their leg drive going. Carbonneau, Pinot, Saroni. Nice stepping, he's beaten 4. Magna couldn't hold on. Horan, referee almost bowled over again.
Sorry to me, knock forward. Scrum down, yellow ball.
The referee Clayton Thomas is playing excellent advantage here tonight at Ballymore. It's Greg Smith, pensive.
Straight away. Backward, stay there.
7 metres from halfway. Roth on the short side here. Regan looping. Benazir. Play on, says the referee. Saroni, Lamaison, Pinot. This is Biaz. Pinot on the loop. Castaignède. Great play by France. Lamaison. Magna. They've kept it alive through 12 pairs of hands. 15 metres out. France one quick ball. Tournaire. What an attacking movement by the tricolours. Carbonneau. He went himself. France still have it. They're all on the right here. Magna and Califano. Now Lamaison. Eales tries to spoil. 12 metres out. Lamaison. Big tackle there by Tune. That's Tournaire. Brousset into Gregan. Oh, that was a big charge and a big tackle. France have it now. Castaignède. He got it down. Oh, that is a magnificent French reply, and they are back in the game.
Wonderful football from the French, and their supporters are loving it. March on, march on. And they did. They were stretched by the Wallabies through Gregan and came back in the way they knew how. They showed lots of composure in taking their time. Bruce got bruised by Gregan, but they still rolled on, and this is good work from Castaignède, going over in the tackle of Jason Little.
1-15, the French have done so well. Castaignède finishes it off with some elusive action close to the sideline.
Yes, Castaignède, who scored that blistering try in Sydney last weekend, really showing his great class to get the ball over the goal line that time. Now Lamaison. This is a big kick for France. If he got this, they'd be trailing by just a converted try. Very focused French team tonight. Nice looking kick. Oh, majestic. 7 points the difference. What a test match in prospect in the second 40 minutes as we close on the break. Doesn't come much better than that. From touch. Lamaison, 3 out of 3. His goal kicking has kept the French in touch. Larkham goes deep. This is Pelouse. These big French forwards are having a go. Great work from Benazi. Cleaned out by Carbonneau now. Good composure here. Califano. Chardonnay de Penot. Dalmazo. Great support play and handling from the French. They're showing us all the skills here tonight. Penot! The Australians have just relaxed a little here, and France are throwing everything at them. Lamaison goes for Diaz. It's only 15 metres out, about a minute before half-time.
The French doing so well, keeping the ball in hand. That time, Lamaison may have kept it in hand himself. Eales didn't have the speed on the wing to make an impression on the Australian defence.
Great to see the big men right in the middle of it. Bruce particularly, and Nell not shirking it up there with the back rows, forming that crucial link. And Dalmasso again, so crucial.
Well, this total 15-man game that Villepreux has spoken about, we're seeing it from France here. And Australia back on their heels, but standing their ground as we close on the break. Referee says the hooter is gone. He looks at his watch, and we'll have the line out.
Probably making up for the minute and 8 he finished short in the first test in Sydney.
Well, a big opportunity here for France. The Australians can't concede a 5-pointer here. That's Bruce. Tournier goes in. Straight through the middle of the Australian forwards. They're 10 metres out. They're 5 metres out. Oliver Mel. It's as though a French player is being called out. Well, again, that's a big pity for their cause, because Australia was under heavy pressure there.
That was your ball. You were going to win the ball. They had a player on the floor who was not interfering, and he trampled on that player. That's not on. You lost possession because of it. The penalty's against you.
Well, here's the replay. What's Brett Robinson? Goes to the ground, and bang, in come the boots right in front of the referee. Bruce doing the damage.
Well, that silly little indiscretion there could, in the end, prove very costly for France at the break, because Australia has it in a scintillating first half display from both sides. Australia 20, leading France 13. Back with more after the break. UFO folks, if you're in Brisbane. Yes, last week in Sydney, Simon, we had all sorts of calls to radio stations. It's the Whitman's Lightship, and we're seeing some great pictures from there tonight. But what about that first half? Have you seen better this season?
It's been extraordinary. It's been absolutely fantastic running rugby from both sides. The French really surprised by the Australian offensive in the first 20 minutes. And the Australian first try, fantastic jump by John Eales. The backs come in, they add their weight, and finally Richard Harry emerges as referee Clayton Thomas gets himself in position. Up goes the arms. And that was the Australian start.
Yes, well, that try came after only 5 minutes of play, and then George Gregan, working from the scrum base, he got away from some fairly ordinary back row defence. And what about the pace of Gregan and also Ben June?
George Gregan is a very fast player, and Tune, very smart that time, came in field, ran a beautiful line. This time a real French stuff up, and Jason Little, again one of the fast players on the field, skips past Castaignède for the try.
Yes, a very soft try there, but then the French really showed us their great ensemble game. This went through so many pairs of hands before it got to this last movement, and Castaignède.
Yeah, Castaignède really has been a star during the Five Nations, and Lamaison's made a big difference tonight as well.
Okay, half-time then, 20-13 in favour is the score here at Ballymore. The score here at half-time, 20-13 in favour of Australia. It really is everyone's match, although the Wallabies have their noses in front. Players back on the field on the other side of this break. Yes, back in 90, Australia down France by 48-31. 79 points scored in the game. Already here in 1997, we've had 33 points. Australia 20-13 up, having scored 3 tries to 1. But the French showed they're ready to play as we look at the IBM first half stats, Simon.
Well, believe it or not, the possession is 50-50, and time and attack 60 to the Australian, 40% with the French side. Lineouts have been good for the Australian side tonight, John Eales in particular. And the ruck and maul count in the last 10 minutes, the French really piled on the rucks and maul wins there. Fly half kicks, well, look what the French are doing there. They're really passing the ball around.
They've really come together here tonight, Chris Handy. It's going to be a mighty victory by Australia if they can come through in this game, because the French are just so focused.
More discipline from the French and from the referees, moving about the place, playing good advantage.
Lamaison with a shallow kick to Eales. Over his head. And Giffen lost a head. French going quickly from the line out, but it was a scrum that should have been set there.
Well, the French showing their hand. They want to move this ball. 40 minutes of just explosive rugby ahead.
Good angle to look at the scrum from up on top, see if it stays square.
Cabano, well controlled at the back by Palouse. Lamaison into fly half. Well, that's an unusual tactic. It's gone straight up, not a great kick. That's Stephen Larkham. Brousse the tackler. Aussie forwards clean out. Howard, Horan. Great tackle out there. That was Penaud, his opposite number. French back sneaking up that time. Jason Little has a go. Almost through. Eales. Australians lose it. Cabano. They're trying to clear it out here to Penaud. Referee allows play to go on here. Cabano again. Castaignède. Larkham in great position. He has a fine positional sense. And we're 35 metres out.
Again, very good advantage by referee Clayton Thomas. And look at that possession. 50-50 with the territory. The French really dominating the Australian territory.
Well, that's amazing, Simon. In the first 8 minutes of the game, they didn't get into Australia's half. It's a sign about the pressure that can be applied when you're in the position to apply it. Australia not as comfortable with that forward interchange of passing as the French were in the latter part of the first half.
David Giffen, another splendid jump from him. Star line-out performer for Australia in the first test. Australians going to ground to secure the ball. Horan. Here comes Cherney, lost it. Manya. Brousse on the 22 in centre field. Manya supports. Australia making a couple of handling errors in the early minutes. Eales has to stay onside. and they were all offside there. Well, this is potential 3 points. Benazi says, we'll take it, sir. And this time it's the Australians to show a few nerves with the ball in hand, and the French with a chance to take advantage.
Well, not allowing the ball to be replayed. The referee saying there, an Australian hand scooping the ball up. The referee had his arm out playing the advantage. The player who scooped it up was off his feet and in the tackle. So he was clearly at fault.
Here's John Eales, the offender there. Ewan McKenzie also joining on the side, and Brett Robinson on the ground as well. So any number of penalty offences. This would close the gap to 4 points. Christophe Lamaison hasn't missed one so far. And he's not going to start now. 20 plays 16. The French have issued the challenge here to the Wallabies.
The scoreboard attendant was pretty confident kicking the goalie out the 3 off the 13 before it went across the post.
He's been just so sure in his goal kicking as Larkham puts up a nice ball for his forwards. Australians pick up the crumbs. John Eales. Very good work by the Australian forwards. Ewan McKenzie trying to set this one back for Gregan. Tim Horan. Back to Howard. He's caught by Benazi. Wilson's there for Australia with Harry. Nice little reverse pass there from George Gregan. Caputo. Now Bruze trying to hold him up. Horan again. Jason Little. Good clean out by Pat Howard. Here's Horan. Roff's outside. Horan lost it. Well, some very good aggressive defence from the French at the moment. They're tackling their hearts out.
It is a great defensive effort by the French. Del Masso out wide, but Horan losing the ball in the tackle. But to a man, they're so difficult to get through when the drive comes on. And again, the Australian players have to go to ground because they can't drive through the tackler.
So the score here at Ballymore, 5 minutes gone. Second half, Australia 20, France 16.
Got thousands.
So play about to resume here with the scrum. Dr. John Best.
Stay up, stay up.
The fabulous take by this man 5 minutes in the game as Mitch Hardy warms up the sideline. Didn't the crowd get a buzz when he came on?
Well, the French will be having nightmares, Chris, with the sight of Mitch Hardy.
About a similar time of the game, but they're very focused, the French. They've clawed their way back.
They'll have the scrum feed here, midway 22 and halfway. Toulouse has done well at number 8. Here's Penot. A beautiful spiral torpedo, overtuned. Larkham back there inside the quarter. No angle, so a good territorial advantage there for the French, and they'll get the line-out throw.
Just seems that the depth of the French kicking in general play is putting on a lot more pressure than the Wallabies. Tim Horan choosing not to kick a lot, and when he does, he's not getting that length and getting the ball into touch.
David Giffen at number 2. It goes to Toulouse, the number 8. Benazi helps him ahead. Munya is there with Dalmazo. The Wallabies dive in and collapsing them all that time. Another penalty opportunity for Christophe Lamaison, and this would close the gap to 1 point. This match has taken a dramatic U-turn from halfway through the second half. Score here, 2016. Is 15 metres in from this broadcast touch, and they are jammed in here at Ballymore. House full signs are up. Over 27,000 fans. Lamaison, who's kicked 4 out of 4, with a chance to make the difference just 1. Another beautiful strike. And a beautiful result for the French. Well, they have a spring in their step. The Wallabies dominating the first 20 minutes of this game, getting out to a 17-3 lead. But since then, the French have taken control.
Well, David Wilson, the tackler there, and taking the man to ground. I think he's almost entitled to bring that man on his own to ground. He did have a couple attached to him.
And the Wallabies putting that one into touch, very close to the far touch line.
Good chasing by Joe Roth then, got a hand of the ball. The ball was sailing out.
Australian forwards really have to crank it up now. Giffen did well, but Bruce came away and couldn't hold it. So good spoiling there by the men in gold, spoiling the French line-out ball. Quite a din here with this big crowd. The Australians having to really yell out the backline moves.
Australians need to keep this straight, give George Duke Regan a good pass out to Tim Horan.
Very good Australian scrum this time. Poker to Gregan and Horan. Howard. Out wide is Little. Just caught by Lamaison. Roth. Coming off a French player, Benazi. French drifting across in defence that time. Coming back for Carbonneau. Pinot wants it. Mel is there. He wasn't supposed to be. Harry in front. So was Caputo and John Eales. But the former lumberjack takes it ahead by 10. Pinot again. Saroni. Picked up by Castaignède. No knock-on, says the referee. The crowd disagrees. Carbonneau back to Larkham. The counter-attacker. Bernard Saul. Still not in touch. Australia have it. Horan. Here's Pat Howard. Coming back inside and into trouble that time. He got over the advantage line though. Horan again. Joe Roth getting involved. Horan goes himself. He's made 15. Great work there by the Australian vice-captain. Roth. Larkham's outside. Wallabies coming in waves. Here's Howard. He's run out of support here. Horan arrived in a nick of time. Caught by Merle. A bear hug. Gregan. Roth, that's Coker. The Australians just controlling it beautifully at the moment. Behind Howard. Referee says play on. June. And the Australians get the penalty. The French all offside that time. And a very welcome one as well.
Tremendous defence by the French. Man for man, they aimed up, particularly putting pressure on the inside Australian backs. And it took a penalty from the referee to get the Australian side into a better position. They slide so well in defence, and then when they're man on man, they're so strong, and they bring the ball carrier to ground.
Tim Horan did very well there. Caught with no men outside of him. Australia 20, France 19.
John Eales. Successful, the Australian captain, with just 2 of his kicks so far. 1 conversion and 1 penalty. This one straight out in front. 35 metres from the goal line. Mr. Cool. Australia's lead 4 points. 12 minutes gone in the second half. And the crowd really getting their money's worth here tonight at Ballymore in the second international of the Ford Australia Test Series. George Gregan was with the trainer for quite a while there, just flexing that leg. A man who really does look after his injuries and has been just a ball of muscle and vibrance throughout the season. Short little kick to Eales. He knocked on. France have it here through Califano. Bruget is there with Maire. Carbonneau tells his forwards to keep it going. Well, the bulk of the big French forwards starting to worry the Australians. David Wilson does some good work. Do you think that's a factor, Chris? These big forwards using their bulk, their tight forwards, against the smaller Australian back row?
There's no doubt about that. Good, not only in attack, but also in defence. They show that they're just so hard to get through. Very strongly built below the waist.
Pinot works it to Pelouse, who copped it up.
Not forward, no advantage. Scrum down, yellow ball.
Now it's time for Australia to push the button. They've got to generate that same energy that they were able to in the opening stanza. It means good ball and it means swift and sure movements.
Here's George Gregan. That's a very clever kick, gaining 37 metres for his side. The French looked for a quick line out. The Aussies were awake to that one. Ben Tune and also Larkham there.
Look at this crowd on the hill. It's a great crowd. Look, every man and his dog, and it dry as a bone. It's just the weather for it. Great turnout in Brisbane. It's a shame that weather before the start of the game might have kept a few away at the last minute.
Taken there by Pelouse. Tournier going into rip. This powerful French maul edging ahead. This has been an impressive part of their game. Benazi. Now the ball handling and passing skills of their tight forwards coming to the fore. Bruget went into touch. A little bit careless that time, but great work by David Wilson.
A good solid defence from David Wilson. Also Richard Herring coming across, but he missed his man. Marco Caputo.
Good, powerful, straight running. Benazi leading from the front. Picks up the support in Bruget, who's there always. And it's just his errant leg that takes it into touch.
15 minutes gone, second half. Australia ahead by 4. That's Robinson at the back. He was wrapped up by Pelouse. Brett Robinson doing splendidly for the Australians. Gregan tried to kick it and went without it. Turnover. Carbonneau. Pinot on the right. Here's Biartz. He didn't expect that ball. Tune. Giffen. Poor option there by Sebastian Viars. Lets Australia off the hook. Howard now. Manya the tackler with Califano. 7 from halfway, Caputo. Giffen arrives. Here's Horan. Tune chases. Castaignède and Saroni. Counters on here. Lamaison. Off he goes. Benatsal. Little just got him. Very brave play there from the French on the 22. They're always looking to counter through their fullback.
How quickly they line up in counter-attack. They drop back in depth, and that means the wide pass is on. Bernard Sale pulls on Jason Little. But as he's done all night, he's just been able to make it there.
Marco Caputo, who postponed his honeymoon last year to play for the Wallabies. A little bit on Australia's side, that throw. They got away with it. Cleaned out there by Hooker. 10-metre line. Horan now to Roth. The big man. Lamaison got him. 10-metre line now, French territory. Gregan tells his forwards. Now Horan. McKenzie's out there. What a pass! And Harry! Oh, a high tackle there on one of the Australians. Dangerous tackle.
Toulouse is in big trouble here. He's had one caution.
Look at the big men go. Firstly, McKenzie, then Richard Harry throwing all the skills. stopped dead in his track. I don't think it was one of those reflex actions as he came back inside, jammed out his arm and almost like a coat hanger.
Well, in rugby league, that'd incur a few weeks from the judiciary, I would think, Simon.
Toulouse has got a problem here because he's already on a caution.
I know instinctive, but the tackle was high. No.
Oh, he's very lucky not to get his marching orders. David Wilson, very heavy blow.
Mark Cobain on the sideline warming up.
So Australia ahead by 4, 23 plays 19. So David Wilson just checking to see that La Tête is still sur les pales, the shoulders. Matt Cobain warming up there after that high hit.
And Gordon, he'd be just
now John Eales with the penalty kick.
He'd be just the play you'd want to use at this position in the game, Matt Cobain. Such a good straight runner and tackler. Mitch Hardy looks like he'll be coming on. Jason Little receiving some attention. Looks like he's talking with the trainers.
There's Little. It looks like, do you think it's some sort of leg injury, Chris?
I think it might be a thigh or calf injury.
Well, a big hit here for the Australian skipper, John Eales. This could put Australia back out to 7. Crowd's happy behind. So are the touch judges. Incredible penalty goal there by the Australian skipper. And the Wallabies really have consolidated after that onslaught from the French.
Jason Little looking very uncomfortable as he comes off the field, being replaced by Mitch Hardy. And I don't think Little will be back on the field. He looks very uncomfortable.
And here the value of Greg Smith's execution of backline players last year. He had Joe Roth playing at outside centre. Roth probably will slot into that position now, where he played this time last year in the number 13 jumper, and Mitch Hardy onto the wing.
A groin injury for Jason Little is not good news. We've seen it sideline Matt Burke. He doesn't look comfortable with it. That's not good news with the All Black Test coming up next week.
Christophe Lamaison. Brouzet and Toulouse coming in hard. Brouzet got his hand to it. Mel took it. Back to Carbonneau and Penaud. Castaignède. Horan got him with Robinson standing out in midfield. Manya is there. Wallabies will try and hold him up here and kill the ball to get the scrum feed. But France are edging ahead. Again, this great tower in their forward pack. Australia with a couple of forwards standing out that time. But it didn't come out. Brett Robinson, again, spoiling there with his cohort, David Wilson.
Manya having a big complaint to the referee about David Wilson and Robinson locking the French attack up. It was fair play.
Here goes Larkham, short side. That's Mitch Hardy. Maybe Larkham could have kept going that time. 10 from halfway. Clouseau, halfway line. Tim Horan and Howard running back in field that time. He's run into a bit of trouble. Australia still have it. Gregan. Oh, that is a mighty tackle on Hardy, far side.
They're wasting no time getting Hardy into the action. Pat Howard jinking back to short side. So difficult to penetrate the French in close and just around the edges of their ruck. Hardy going as hard as he could, and Toulouse pulling him down. Beautiful low tackle.
You won't see a better covering tackle from a number 8 than that one by Fabien Toulouse.
Shout them in, nice.
He played it locked against the Springboks last year. Nice high throw. Brouzet got it. Tournaire back to Carbonneau. Penaud. Back into a bit of bother here. Australians wrap him up on halfway. It's Brouzet. Good play by the French forwards. Tournaire, Carbonneau, Penaud. Castaignède, Sadoni, Sebastian Villas. He's quick. Castaignède is there. Howard pinched it. And gave it back to Gregan. Australia out of jail again. Very alert thinking there by Pat Howard. And Horan on his left foot. Sadoni. Oh, great tackle by Mackenzie. Australia coming through off their feet to pilfer that time. They were entitled to pinch the ball, but the player left his feet.
Yep, David Wilson must stay on his feet to grab that ball.
Right.
The French now. Will they take the 3 points?
Well, I think you'd put your house on it. Lamaison is just on song tonight with the boot. This would bring it in. David Wilson, you can't go down to your knee to scoop the ball. Once you're on your knee, you've got to not play it and be away from it.
Well, this one looks as though it could go down to the wire. Australia ahead, 26-19. So David Wilson is soldiering on. What a grand campaigner he is. And, he's certainly been battling injuries, but he is a champion. And the French elect for the line-out throw, 5 metres out from the goal line. This is a critical moment in the game.
Del Masso's had another fine game tonight for the French. Takes the moisture off the ball. This is a critical throw.
So we're uninterrupted now to full time. No more commercials. 18 minutes to go. There's Pelous. Mill drives in. The Wallabies have to hold on. Big driving ball from France. Are they over? No. The French disputing. Australia got a similar try in the first half. They get a second chance here with their scrum.
The referee in great position, and Jean-Claude Scrella Riley smiles as another refereeing decision goes against them. But clearly Merle could not get that ball to ground. He got one shoulder down but didn't get the ball down.
Here goes the big shot from the French. Australia hold their ground. It's Pelous. French clean out here. Carbonneau, they're dangerous. Lamaison's come in to fly half. They want to take it through the maul again. The backs join. They peel it off to the left. Australia in bother here, but they're holding valiantly. Can the French get it down? If they're held up, and they have been, they lose possession. But the referee said it was held up by Australia. They get the ball. He's changed his decision there.
Well, we saw the French back joining the forwards as the Australian backs did in the first half. But they couldn't get across the line there. Australia has spoiled now a critical scrum.
Now you'll see two scrums, one desperate to defend, one that wants to attack.
Here's Gregan. Carbonneau through to spoil, and Larkham. That's a very cool kick. Sadoni. Ben Axel out on the right. Sadoni hoists. Eales underneath. John Eales. And he got the mark. Captain Courageous. The Wallaby forwards have valiantly stood their ground and repelled that massive French challenge.
There isn't a player better than this you'd like under the high ball. John Eales just waits for it and then goes high.
Here's Pelous and Penaud. He's got a bit of pace. Oh, big crunching hits. French work it through Lamaison and Sadoni. Gregan. Great defence again from George Gregan. Biars goes in. They hold it in the field of play. Lamaison to Mania. Horan the tackler. Just out from the quarter. Lamaison at scrum half. One off the ruck. Carbonneau. Carbonneau! Fullback in front. Well, Dalmazeau was inside unmarked. Referee playing advantage for France. They wanted to. They don't need the penalty. The try's on here for the tricolours. There's Dalmazeau again with Califano. Carbonneau goes in. They're getting closer. It's 7 metres out. Penaud. Back to Sebastian Villas. Carbonneau couldn't pick up. Well, I think the referee obviously ruled the advantage accrued. There certainly was a penalty offence against the Australians earlier as David Wilson departs and young Matt Cobain, the 23-year-old from Innisfail. He took up rugby at just 16 years of age, is on for his first cap. Marc Livremont coming on for the French.
Matt Cobain's had an exceptional season for the Queensland Reds, especially in defence.
So we're 14 minutes from full time. Gregan now with Larkham. He's gone through. He beats Benazir but can't beat Manya. 17 metres from the goal line. Horan gets his touch this time. Well, we've seen some stoic defence, Chris Handy, from the Australians over the last 7 or 8 minutes.
We have, Gordon, but we've seen some kicks that needed to go into touch from the position they were taken and didn't. Greg Smith would be tearing his hair out. This is pressure Australia doesn't need, giving the French an opportunity to counter-attack. They've used it wisely.
Marc Dalmazo, the 30-year-old from Agen, who was in the Test wilderness for 6 years in the 90s. He's pinched it. John Eales. Australia cough it up. This is Viaz. France still in the field of play here. The player saying he was out. They have a chance. That's Tournaire. Manya there to pick up the crumbs. Cabanot. Lamaison. And the referee calls it back for the touch judge. They did go out. The Australian players were right.
Well, plenty of encouraging calls there from the Australian players.
Mark Delmaso saying no, but Matt Cobain, his first tackle since coming on the field,
press and top,
drove the Frenchman across the line. Good play. There's Cobain, that number 19 on the ground, and that's when the touch judge has got a pretty good view of things. Says that he went over the line while in possession.
So Palouse is off the field. John Eales again with another magnificent take at the front. Very aggressive leap there by the Aussie skipper. 12 minutes before full time. Australia ahead by 7. They've really absorbed the French pressure. And now they take it ahead by another 10. Great work by McKenzie that time. Here's Howard looking for Larkham. Good pass to Robinson. Horan. He's found open territory. Horan chases. Viaz threw it away. Horan knocked on. Well, Viaz tried to flick it back to Sadorni. He really cracked in the heat of the moment, and Tim Horan almost picked up a gift 5-pointer.
Again, exceptional pace here from Tim Horan as he did last week, the SFS. And just gets spoiled at the last moment.
The Australian scrum surging through. The French forwards look as though they're tired in this last quarter of the game, which has been a pattern throughout the tour. The Australian scrum starting to get the upper hand here, Chris.
It looked good there, Gordon. I think they'll regroup. The French need this one, a nice stable platform.
Cabanot. Little knock on, says the referee, by the scrum half. Cabanot says, I didn't touch it, sir, but watch it.
The ball came out of the scrum and then it was returned back in. And it's not on.
It was controlled by the number 8, but he didn't touch the ball. The referee, I think, said, as you called it, Chris, 7 metres out.
They're muscling up in the front there.
It's a very technical call, that one, by the referee, and a very critical one. It was controlled at the back by the number 8.
The next time.
Here's George Gregan. Penalty to Australia. Robinson says, calm things down.
Well, Tournaire, Frank Tournaire, that time penalised by the referee for angling in, not packing straight on his man. And Brett Robinson applauding the work of his scrum. They tried to keep it straight and keep it advancing towards the French line. And Tournaire, by tacking in at the angle, going in at the hooker, caused that front row to destabilise, and the referee says that's dangerous play, penalty, Australia.
Well, the French have certainly given their best shot here tonight, but the Australians have taken the opportunities that have come their way. France have been guilty of too many turnovers again, and a little bit of indiscipline, particularly just before half-time from Toulouse when they looked as though they were going to score a try. Now Eales has the chance to put his side out by 10.
John Eales, captain cool. Can he do it?
Would you back this one in, Simon, like Stellenbosch out wide? He usually kicks them from this position on the field.
You sound as though your money's on, Chris.
Oh, yeah, I'm on. His 27th birthday, breaking the record for the number of tests in the lock position.
It's across the face of goal. Penaud to Sardoni. They're going to counter here. Amazing stuff. We saw it at Eaton Park. Lamaison. Back to Tournaire. The French are really going to go out in a blaze of glory here at Ballymore. About 8 minutes to go. They really need to get it back too. There's Lamaison. Eales spoilt well with Caputo. Here's Cavanaugh sending one of his forwards ahead. Penaud. Sardoni. He's through. Beautiful running from the fullback. Magna is there. That's Libremont. A little bit of extra pace coming into the back row now. Cavanaugh wants it. Penaud on the short side. Lamaison. Gregan. Great tackle. Well set up. Magna. Well, that is not a great option by Olivier Magna, going straight into touch. Crazy stuff from the French. Penaud can't believe it.
And it was Metco Bain who made the critical tackle on Lamaison. As Dalmasso throws George Gregan out of the way. Poor option here from Magna.
Great to see the French, though, really giving it a whirl. Pierre Villepreux, Jojo Masso, and Jean-Claude Scrella can be very proud of this side.
So Bondouille, Pierre Bondouille is on for his third cap for Sébastien Viars. Here's Pat Howard. 7 metres from halfway. Roth. Close marking defence was up. Offside. So Bondouille on for Viars. The French with 2 replacements in their second half. Larkham finds touch. We're about 7.5 minutes out from full time. The clock, 37 minutes of playing time. But the French have lost no friends here tonight. We make it about just under 7 minutes to go.
The referee's got a watch of his own, don't forget, Good.
That's right. Giffen did well at the front. Horan. Oh, almost got a gap there. 37 metres out. Gregan now. Harry, first receiver. Taken by Magna. Howard beautifully. Roth almost finding a gap. French forwards looking tired. Ball retention the key here for Australia. Here goes Howard, stepping nicely, trying to wriggle through. Back for Gregan again. Here's Mitch Hardy, chasing, and Bentoon. Bernard Saal. 7 metres out from the goal line. Australia cranking it up here.
This is the variation that you're looking for in an international halfback. That opportunity when it's perfect to kick the defence flat. Your team on a roll, punching into the corner, the return for the line out. This is a ball Australia have got to use and use well.
Well, the Australian forwards have really answered the challenge from the French tonight. Particularly those tight forwards. Ewan McKenzie's had a grand game. Taken away there by Cobain. 7 metres out. Harry. 5 metres from the goal line. Caputo. Gregan now works it short. Hardy. Pass was just a little high. Still 5 metres from the goal line. They keep it up the ground. Very, very close. 5 metre scrum, Australia.
Well, great work by Hardy. Stayed solid, stayed on his feet, kept away from that sideline. Out it comes. Wasn't a good ball. In come the French. Larkham into support. Harry. Cobain comes hurtling in. Just can't quite get there. Richard Harry.
Yes, that whole Australian front row. Marvellous performance tonight from Harry, Caputo and Mackenzie. So he must have just lost a head. Here's Carbonneau. Penno goes deep. Drop goals on here for Larkham. He follows. Converted try would give the French a draw. Larkham! Spectacular stop. Cobain! Here's George Gregan. Hardy's going to come in here with Howard. Scrum feed Australia. Well, we make it about 3 minutes to go. Australia up by 7.
A far more disciplined performance by the French. Not giving away those offside penalties in the volume that they've done on tour, and one wonders what the results may have been in other games had they have shown the same discipline.
It's been a great test match here tonight. Troy Coker to Gregan now. Horan wants it. Beautiful flick pass there to Giffen. Here's Horan. Cut out there to Ropp, and Howard loops. Followed from behind by Castaignède. French need the ball. They've got it now. Back to Penno. That man's offside, Mackenzie. And a knock on by Australia. Nice try, Link. Carbonneau feeds. We make it about 90 seconds to go. Sarani for Bernard Sal. Hardy down on the loose ball. Just inside the quarter. Here's George Gregan now. And Howard. Getting through a tired defence. Caputo. Robinson cleans out to Gregan. Roth. All the Brumbies players in concert here. Fitness of the Australians has really come through in this last quarter. They're not letting up on this French team. But to be Coker. Gregan again. Beautiful control. Tries on here for the Australians. Picked up on the far side by Larkham. And that is it. Well, that is a marvellous victory to the Australian team. The French really issued the challenge tonight. And the Aussies stood their ground superbly. There were no tries scored in the second half. Australia led 20-13 at the break. But it was all about defence from both teams. And both sides really answered that calling. A very gallant French team. They have gone under tonight to the Wallabies by 20 points to 13. Australia scoring 3 first-half tries. Harry, June and Little. Conversion by Eales. 3 penalty goals by John Eales. Greg Smith with a record now of 18 wins from 21 matches with this Wallaby side. And this tremendous spirit in the Australian team really coming through. To a man, they did a grand job tonight against a very classy French outfit. Tim Horan all smiles. A very busy game at fly half. Let's go down to Chris Handy with the victorious Australian skipper.
John Eales, your 27th birthday, 41 tests at lock, a great night and a win against the French.
Yeah, it was a great win. Like, we started very well tonight. Unfortunately, we didn't keep the momentum going through the whole game. But, you know, at the end of the day, we won. We beat a very, very good team.
Your set pieces needed some work. It was done, and they performed manfully tonight, the front five.
It was a lot better. I mean, we were even dominant in the scrum tonight, which we weren't last week. It gave us a great platform to work from, particularly in the first half.
With the French series behind you, the Ford Test series behind you, it's on to the All Blacks. What are you looking forward to?
It's a great challenge, the All Blacks, and particularly in New Zealand. It's a great opportunity for us as a team now to take that next step and play against the best team in the world and give it our best shot.
Good on you, John, and good luck in the All Black Test next week.
Thanks, Chris.
And we're here with Abdul Benazi. Abdul, I'm sure you'd be somewhat disappointed. You'd have come to Australia expecting a little more from the Test series.
Yeah, it's a shame. We arrived here, we win. We really want to prove it. The nice rugby we play this season we win in Five Nations. It's in the end of the season, all the guys is a little tired. We found here very good team, Wallaby team, really very, very good boys, very good players. And we tried to win this second test, but we have many occasions tried, scored, but today it's too hard. But doesn't matter, we have a big way of working.
Thank you, and good luck to your team. They are wonderful players, and I'm sure we'll meet again.
Yes, it's priority for us to keep it in the continued good play. We have a big season and a long season this year, and now we finish the season. We have thinking this summer and working hard before start next season.
Thank you.
Yes, well, the French really did prove their quality tonight, but they were beaten by an outstanding Wallaby team, and it really does set things up for Lancaster Park in Christchurch. Next Saturday, a live telecast on 7 at noon. We'll be back to wrap up after the break. Yes, baby Ben, the 20-year-old Ben Tune, man of the match in Sydney, getting that critical first half try after just 12 minutes of play, which put Australia out to a 12-0 lead. But the final score here, Australia emerging victorious over a gallant French team by 26-19. And Chris Handy is with the Ford Australia man of the match.
Well, John, you've won everything else tonight. You may as well add the man of the match, the Ford man of the match to it. A great result.
Yeah, I think you always got to be a bit lucky to get those awards. It's a great team effort tonight, and a great team effort right throughout the series, and no one can win these awards if you don't have the support of the team.
And with us, David Morgan from Ford Australia. David, to present the trophy, what a great match.
It certainly was an excellent match tonight, and I'd like to congratulate John on his tremendous leadership. It was very, very good.
Thanks, David. And thanks for the support right throughout, and it's an honour to get this. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Yes, Australia's new record holder as a test lock, John Eales, the birthday boy. His goal kicking was spot on. It really was his night, but a great effort by the Australians.
It certainly was. The courageous victory by the Australians there tonight. A big build-up for New Zealand next week. It was a tough second half, but they hung in there, and their scrum was so much better tonight. Their line-out so much better tonight. The stats, well, look at that. The ruck and maul count eventually went Australia's way in a big way. And the fly halves really using that ball, passing the ball. Fantastic to see, and very few penalties in the IBM match stats. It tells a lot.
Yes, well, it certainly was a great spectacle, particularly in that first half, Simon, when Australia ran in 3 tries. A soft try conceded by the French, and really they'll look back at the game and think, well, we had our chances to win it.
I'm sure they'll look at that second half and think, well, it's been a big miss here at Ballymore.
Okay, let's go back to Chris Handy, who's with the Australian vice-captain.
Tim Horan, your second match in the number 10 jersey, you pleased with it?
Yeah, I felt a lot more comfortable there. It was a bit difficult in the first test. We were getting the ball going backwards, but in this test, the forwards really paved our way, and we got the ball going forward.
The French proved very difficult to penetrate, not only in the forwards, but just wide out where you were. They seemed to plug away without much luck.
Yeah, it was difficult, but, they're a good defensive team as well.
The All Blacks, you're looking forward to them. They've got a good back row. They've got good inside backs. Will it be a similar sort of test match?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Hopefully it can have a scoreline similar to this.
Christchurch weather?
Yeah, it'll be very cold, so we're looking forward to it.
I'll leave you to hold that trophy.
Thanks, bud.
Yes, a great effort by Timmy Horan, the Australian vice-captain. And we now look forward to Lancaster Park in Christchurch next Saturday. Don't forget the live telecast from midday Eastern Time. Should be a great clash. Australia and New Zealand. This is a Bledisloe Cup fixture, not a Tri-Nations game. And of course, tomorrow morning Sports World with Bruce McAvaney, a special interview with the great former 1500-metre runner and miler, the great New Zealander John Walker. Don't miss that one in Sports World tomorrow. And Sunday footy, In Sydney and Brisbane, well, we have Jim Marsden from Western Suburbs. He'll be talking about possible amalgamations. Michael Butner from North, Andrew Eddingshausen, and also Dale Lewis. So some great stars. And Sydney versus North Melbourne, the grand final replay tomorrow on 7 exclusively at 2 p.m. Don't miss it. But the final score here, Australia 26-19. They now look forward to the All Blacks next week.